Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another boxing big night out here at the Ulster Hall. And once again, let's hear applause for our sponsors, Smirnoff. First contest this evening, a heavyweight contest over 6 two-minute rounds between Joe Egan and John Williams. At the weigh-in today, Egan weighed 14 stone and 3 pounds. Williams weighed 13 stone 12 and 1/2 pound. Ladies and gentlemen, from Tottenham in the red corner and on my right, John Williams. From Dublin, boxing out of Belfast, on my left and in the blue corner, Joe Egan. Your referee for this contest, Mr. Barney Wilson.
Seconds out, round one.
So the big moment for the big man comes. Joe Egan. Big, tall, well-built man. And his professional debut. Joe Egan against a towering cruiserweight come heavyweight John Williams. John Williams, 6'2½". And this young man from Dublin, now fighting out of Belfast, facing a professional audience for the very first time, a testing moment for him. Dave, can you look back to, Dave McCauley, can you look back to that day, your very first one in front of a professional crowd?
Yes, my first professional fight was against John Mulwamy from England, and I actually got a draw. And I'll tell you this, it was my first professional fight, and I was as nervous as hell, so I was. Unbelievable. I know how Joe feels tonight.
It is a testing moment. Fine amateur career, of course, but now he's up with the pros. Leading with the long left hand. Williams already showing that Joe, a little to learn. Coming away out of that left hand, and Barney Wilson decides that it's time for Williams to be told that he must keep his head up. Williams ducking away under the straight left jab. But Egan gets it through there. A little trickle of blood from the right eyebrow of Joe Egan as he goes back to his corner. Trainer Paul McCulloch has a look at it. Joe Egan, professional debut, that's an Irish super heavy title. He won in '84 and then '87, '88, '89, the Irish heavyweight champion. So he comes in with very, very good credentials. And they're a little worried with that eye. John Williams, a pro.
She watches me every... Still, I can't help thinking about what she said. I don't like being threatened.
It wouldn't take too much now.
Hasn't had too much action in the last...
We had this morning, so I asked Sandra what she thought Madeline might do if someone crossed her.
What?
Amount of experience, the right man to test Joe Egan. There's some worrying signs in that corner of Joe Egan's. There appears to be a tiny cut on the right eye and a fairly heavy lump under the left eye. Williams was given a stern warning in that first round a couple of times to get his head up. It might very well be that one of those accidental clashes of heads have just opened a tiny nick to Egan's eye. Well, Williams got warned then by Danny Wilson, but Egan has got to learn in the pro game, you've got to protect yourself at all times. No way that you can turn your back on anybody. Solid punching from Joe Egan then. Caught Williams high up on the head with the left, and a good shot to the body with the right. And Egan wanting to have a bundle now. Oh, that was a positive haymaker. That one started outside the Ulster Hall. Mr. Williams was rather fortunate that there was no connection there, Dave.
Yeah, Joe seems to be a wee bit over-eager at the minute, so he does. He just has to settle down slightly and just get everything in his stride. But he's throwing some good hard shots, so he is.
Stop boxing! Stop boxing! Come on, Joe.
Well, he's certainly gone a little bit right-hand crazy at the moment. And Williams has been hurt. His hands have dropped down a bit. Oh, Egan walked onto a solid left hand from Williams then. Oh, Egan's a genuine, honest fella. Goes boring in behind those big punches. He's taken a couple of shots on the chin, and his face is showing a few marks. There's some fairly heavy punches coming out from Joe Egan there.
Yeah, he threw a few good solid right hands, but he took a few himself, so he did a few good shots to the body there.
What's that job? We threw the right over the top. You can't mess with that right. Don't be loading up. You understand? Don't load up. Don't load up with it. Right, just let it come natural. And you can't mess inside with an uppercut. Right. You can't mess with it. You understand? Yeah.
Words of wisdom from Barney Eastwood and from former McCulloch.
You understand? Right, yeah. Okay.
You can't miss inside with the uppercut of the instructions. So we can look down on them as they come out for the third round. Paddy Byrne, that's Johnny Williams' manager, is telling him to get on his bicycle and fight behind the jab. Don't get in tight. Certainly when Williams bends his head down like that, the instructions from the corner are quite accurate, aren't they, Dave?
Yeah.
A good uppercut would really whack him.
Well, this is what he's being told from the corner by BJ and by Paul. A good right uppercut will just carry this man's head clean off his shoulders because he puts it so low. So he does.
Well, Joe Egan, who works for Delta Airlines in Dublin, certainly would like to lift Mr. Williams right off the ground. Yes, if Joe would let that right hand go upwards from around about the knee area, John Williams would not know what day it was. Well, his own defence isn't too clever, Dave, Joe Egan, but he certainly dishes a punishment out.
Joe holds his arms in a peculiar way, so he does. It's like an old-fashioned type of fighter. He holds his arms across his chest. He doesn't bother him up above his head, so he doesn't. And he takes an awful lot of punches to the head through having a defence the way he has. As you can see there yourself,
yeah,
they're like folded arms. They are.
So, the debut boy goes back to his corner while John Williams gets some words of wisdom from his manager, Paddy Byrne. A lot of managers have talked to him. And Egan is catching his man all right with these shots, but there you see that he's taking shots on the chin himself unnecessarily. I think it's something that his camp will have to work on if he's going to make progress as a professional heavyweight. A good defense.
Stay close as you can. Don't get away. Big breath. Give me a couple of big ones. Give me a couple of big breaths. Big, couple of big breaths again. Tidy up, man. Yeah. You hear me? Yeah. Snap each other.
Second time. Round 4.
Well, Joe Egan then. Eager to land the one big one that would start his professional record off with a knockout. But he's so far had to go 3. So we go into the second half of this scheduled 6-rounder. Joe Egan, who's done a fair bit of sparring up in the Catskill Mountains in Mike Tyson's camp. And it's said that Tyson actually wore a pair of Egan's shorts a couple of times in his fights. I do hope that he wasn't wearing them when he met Mr. Buster Douglas.
Stop boxing, stop boxing.
In fact, we thought perhaps that Joe might come in here tonight wearing a pair of Tyson's shorts. Once again, a warning from referee Barney Wilson to Williams getting his head down too low. But it was so much better if Joe Egan kept Williams' head up with a couple of solid uppercuts. He hasn't really followed that advice from the corner, Dave.
No, I think he's just too anxious to land a big bomb. He wants to impress everybody, I think, tonight, because it's his professional debut and he wants to win in style, and I think he's been a wee bit too over-anxious.
I think Joe is totally convinced that Williams can't hurt him. But he's got to watch those eyes. They've done a good job on the tiny cut on the right eye that he picked up in the first round. But he's got bumps and lumps underneath the eyes where the punches of Williams have been landing. So, more advice from his corner to Joe Egan. I'm sure it'll be to the effect that he ought to think a little bit more about defense rather than eagerly go for the big punch. I wonder if we can see here, Dave, whether he is getting caught with punches. Yes, he is.
He is. He's taken quite a few there, so he is. But Joe was in the gym. Joe has been warned about his defense, and they've tried to brush it up, but at the minute it doesn't seem to be happening.
Right on it. Right. I'll be tidy. And if this guy sticks his head down, he'll have step and bang it up. Come on, have step and stand.
You have to work a bit harder. You have to work a bit harder because you're behind. I'm telling you now.
I know.
It's behind. Tony just told me you're behind.
I know.
Come on.
So they come out for 5 with manager Paddy Byrne having told his boy John Williams that he's behind.
Stop boxing.
He's really got to work. And again, Williams being warned for hitting Egan on the back of the head, but I think that was inexperience again from the novice heavyweight Joe Egan. Must not turn your back on an opponent. You mustn't do that in the amateur ring. You certainly don't want to do it in the professional ring. Well, it's real toe-to-toe stuff now. John Williams, born in Birmingham, now fights out of Tottenham. Whereas Joe Egan Born in London, moved to Dublin with his Irish-born parents when he was 16. Looks on himself very much as an Irish champion, as indeed he was. Super heavyweight, and then 3 heavyweight titles as an amateur.
Joe keeps holding his hands and his arms around his chest when he's in close and they're fighting inside. His hands are around his chest, they're not protecting his face at all. And I think he's got another cut in his left eye here through keeping his hands and his arms low.
Yes, I think you're right. It's a glancing right that might have actually started a trickle of blood around the left eye from Williams. Now, this, of course, is further than Joe Egan's ever been asked to go in his boxing career. 3 rounds, the maximum for amateurs. And once again, Joe Egan's cornerman working on that face, which is looking very puffy around the eyes. He has been getting good shots in, but he's been taking rather more around the face than he ought to, Dave.
Yeah, he is. And that's because he's keeping his arms and his hands around his chest. But here, I think we see a bit of a battle here. He's trying his best, so he is. But I think Williams this round got through with a lot more shots than Joe got through, so he did. It's tough going. Just has to keep his hands up slightly.
He's the sort of lad who's perfectly prepared to take 1 to dish out 3.
Yes.
Cuts himself guard, he can't.
So, Joe Egan a little bit marked, coming out with his 6th round. The mouse under the left eye has opened. They've managed to stop the cut around the right eye, but there's a mouse. Oh! And Williams caught him with a punch then. Now, that was a genuinely good punch.
Yeah, he caught him a good right hand and right on the chin. So he did.
Well, it might very well be that Joe Egan has got to stop Egan to win it. And Williams looking to get the big one in, but I think Joe Egan's fighting spirit will bring him back in. He's an incredibly strong young man. And winding up in a real barnstorming finish. Oh, he got caught with a couple of good shots again then. Well, about 30 seconds to go on a hard, bruising debut for Joe Egan. He's a strong boy, Dave, to have come back from that knockdown.
He's very strong. In fact, it was just a stunning punch, really. It didn't really give him a big lot of trouble, but still, it put him down, and he's keeping his hands too low, and that's why this is happening.
Well, he's trying to make it a grandstand finish. Throwing punches with both hands. And there's the bell to end it. And referee Barney Wilson picks up Joe Egan's hand. The winner. And now the tension can disappear. He's had his debut. He's won it. He had to go the full six rounds, the full course, but he made it. Joe Egan. And isn't he delighted there?
He's over the moon, so he is.
But I think we can look back on that last round, and it certainly had its dramas.
That was a good right hand right on the chin there, and it put Joe down.
but he had the guts to get up and come back and take the verdict.
Full of heart and stamina.
Strong enough, as we were saying then, Dave, to shake off the effects of that punch and really come back and dish it out.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear applause for such a cracking contest. Get both boys a nice round of applause. The referee scored that. Williams, 58 points. Egan, 59. And the winner is Joe Egan. Come on, let's hear applause for the winner.
The blue corner, from Dublin, boxing out of Belfast, Joe Egan.